Hey everyone, Temporal here, and today I want to cover how to play Gibraltar first. It's probably the hardest hold to break in the entire game, so I felt like it deserved some special emphasis. Widow is the queen of this point. All the other pieces really exist to enable her, but the level of enabling that you can provide makes a huge difference. This is not simply a case of, oh, the team with the better Widowmaker wins. Not even close. From the defender's perspective, we look at generally a hold consisting of Winston, Diva, Widow, Briggs, Mercy, and Zen. Mercy enables Widow, that makes her a good pick. She thrives on having all this high ground available to Guardian Angel between. And Zen is protected in the same way your Widow is protected by how hard it is to get on your back line if you're executing this hold correctly. You even just want to set up right off the bat as the match starts with the blue box hold, that's fine. That's not even going to be a big deal that you didn't touch the point or didn't look for an early pick at the beginning of the map there. So, looking at this from a positioning standpoint, you want your tanks and Briggs to go ahead and hold blue box, and then Widow and Zen are going to hold that back high ground kind of near glass back there. Mercy will transition between the two spots. Boosting Widow is a nice default for her, but she's also going to have to Guardian Angel over and heal up the tanks as tank trading goes on. So Widow, the defending Widow, only really has to worry about the attacking Widow peeking from two spots. Attacking Widow can peek Horizon or Sunset, which she'll generally have to grapple to do, and your tanks should give you plenty of heads up that she's doing that. She should never be able to do that and you not get any early warning system that that's coming. So that should be pretty easy. Either hide from it or go ahead and take her out, whichever is your choice there. And then the other place that she can peek from is going to be mid-high ground to the left of blue box there. So you can close that angle so that she can't take those shots. You can open that angle and take those shots. That's mostly up to you. You will have that mercy boost to help you out sometimes. But those are the only two real spots that you need to worry about. Other than that, you can and should contribute to the blue box fight that will be happening between the tanks, but you definitely do need to look for those pickoffs outside of that. You need to look, okay, is there a squishy including the Widow that I can take care of? And you're also probably going to be the first person to see if someone's trying to force cart through car wash or if someone's trying to stage from car wash to dive you. And you do want to get a shot, even if it's just a body shot on them as they try to dive from there so that you get the advantage. Looking at the tanks, Winston and Diva are going to be playing peel dive or counter dive, however you want to think about that. I like to call it peel dive. The attackers really have a very limited number of ways that they can get on your backline, and they have to do so in order to win this fight. So if you can prevent their staging opportunities, you're going to have a huge amount of success defending this point. The best way for attackers to dive your Widow, bar none, is for them to take control of blue box from your tanks and then to dive your Widow. So you want to hold blue box as tanks, and you want to go ahead and make it expensive for them to get a toehold in blue box. So if they try to take blue box from you, you're going to tank trade with them. You're going to try and trade out health with them. And if they try to just force it and dive past you anyways, so they hop up to blue box, get zapped, get shot by Diva, and then jump onto your Widow, that's just fine with you because that is incredibly unlikely to be successful. Dives from tanks that are missing 30, 40, 50% of their health, those tanks are going to get obliterated. You as tanks get to do your peel dive. You dive back onto your own Widow to protect her. Doesn't matter that you're also missing health. They're diving into much more dangerous territory than you are. So those dives aren't going to be successful for them if you've been properly tank trading there. Other things that attackers may do that you need to watch out for as tanks is they can try and go ahead and force the point. They may send one person to try and force the point, apply pressure that way. In that situation, your Diva is going to want to go ahead and free drop without using her boosters and contest point, start to take that fight. And if she starts losing health, really needs to get out of there, she can boost back up to blue box and then Winston can swap with her. And those two can just rotate near indefinitely while Widow supplies cover fire if there's more than one person trying to force that point. Another thing that may happen is the opposing Widow may try to peek top mid, like we talked about earlier. Your Widow may try and take that duel, but you don't even care if your Widow tries to take that duel. Your Winston is going to go ahead and dive that Widow. Doesn't need to pursue that Widow. If that Widow drops back, you can let her go. Don't go deep trying to kill her. You're just denying her that space. You're saying, no, you can't have this space, etc. And then you can crouch up there to avoid getting shot and then leap back to blue box once you have control. Alternatively, you can drop down 2 cart from there where your own Widow has, solid sight lines to protect you, and then again hop up to blue box there. Another thing that attacking teams will try to do that you need to prevent is they'll try to rotate into server room. If they can get server room, you do not really have a good positional advantage anymore, so you don't want that to happen. From server room, they can stage good dives. So what you want to do is as they're rotating through that open space, your tanks are going to go ahead and dive them. It's a nice open space. Your Widow can support you, so you generally are going to do pretty well in that dive. The opposing Widow isn't going to be in a good place to protect her team. She'll have had to rotate with them. She's not going to get much value. The last place that attackers can stage a decent dive from is below blue box. If the attackers get one or more flankers or dive tanks down below blue box and try and jump Widow from that doorway there, that's close enough. They can stage a good dive from there and get good value, but that should never happen without warning. You guys as tanks need to be calling when people are missing, taking note of that, and if people are missing, it's really easy for your Widow to hit a headshot on someone walking through that doorway, but it's not a sight line she'll constantly be checking. So you need to notify your team with comms as tanks, since you're the ones that can see that people are missing, so she can do so. Moving on to Briggs's role here, it's going to be very similar to the tanks. She's going to stand at blue box. She's going to abuse the fact that she can third-person cam peek from behind blue box with her shield up and see quite a bit. So she's really got the biggest role when it comes to scouting in that sense. She's going to absolutely contribute to that tank trading. Probably the single best thing she can do is if the opponents try to force a dive from blue box and she hits a bash on them as they use their movement ability, that's just the end of the dive right there. But if they do force a dive through, she's going to only be able to contribute to peel at that point by throwing back armor packs. And that's all she really wants to do. It's still worth it as Briggs most of the time to go ahead and keep blue box even if the fight happens behind you, because you don't want to get caught in a situation where you won the fight, but now your Briggs can't quickly enough get back to blue box before the attackers are ready to attack again. So go ahead and throw back armor packs, hit anyone you can hit, great, but mostly holding that blue box, denying the ability of the attacking Widow to transition to blue box, which is a better spot for her, is still providing some value to your team there. So if we move on to the attacker's perspective, how do you actually break this hold? So the best answer is that you soft dive blue box as a group repeatedly until your health trades in a way that the defender's tanks have to flinch first and drop. You consolidate that positional advantage, get healed up a bit. You may have to fend off another soft dive from the defenders now that you have blue box control, as you're kind of consolidating your lead there. But once you've done so, once you've got your health there, now you're in a good spot and you can perform a good, strong dive onto the opponent's backline, which would be a Widowmaker, maybe a Zenyatta, etc. To actually win this soft dive war, though, you do need to make sure that you're committing all of your blue box fighters at once. That's going to be your Winston, your Diva, probably a Briggs, maybe a Genji instead. Your Mercy's going to want to support them as best she can while not getting zapped herself, and your Widow can actually stand over by Horizon there and contribute into that fight as well. If you've got the better focus fire and you're hitting your mobility abilities, so you're landing your jump pack damage, you're hitting your boop damage with Diva, that is going to get you a slight lead. The defenders can't afford to use their mobility abilities for damage. That said, this is a hard fight to win for attackers. It's hard to win this poke dive war here. The Briggs from the defenders and the Widow from the defenders have a positional advantage, and it absolutely matters. But you only need to win this fight once. If you win this fight once, stabilize nicely, and then dive from here, you can win, whereas they need to make this hold for 4 minutes or however's left on the clock there. If that's absolutely not working for you, though, and you need some other way to attack this, you just can't win these soft dive wars on blue box. You're not able to do it. You can't find the better focus fire and get that health lead. The only other attack I can really recommend is the transition into server room. That is your next best option. But instead of transitioning from a top left from attacker's perspective, what I actually recommend, and you're only going to get to try this once, is rotating all the way across bridge and then dropping from top mid high ground with a Winston bubble into server room. The defenders aren't really going to be able to chase you. They'll try to dive you as you rotate, but they're unlikely to chase you into server room because their Widow will get absolutely no value if they try to fight you in there. And then you've got this 6v5, and that's going to help you out even if the fight is taking place on top of your Widowmaker. Once you've got firm control of server room, it's not an even fight anymore. The opponents don't have that strong sightline advantage. You can stage good dives from server room, or you can rotate up through glass, even get behind the attackers. Once you've got server room, you're in good shape. Those are really the two ways I recommend trying to break Gibraltar, and we went over how to cover the Gibraltar defense here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'll go live on Twitch in just a second to answer any. Otherwise, leave them in the comments, and I'm happy to help you out most of the time. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.